Draft experts seem to be coming to a consensus on who they think the 49ers will take with the 13th pick in the draft, and it seems to be Alabama wide receiver Henry Ruggs. Most draft experts expect the Niners to take a wide receiver, and they also expect Jerry Jeudy from Alabama and CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma to be off the board and unavailable for the 49ers. So the consensus pick is Henry Ruggs at 13. Ruggs went to Alabama, fastest wide receiver in the draft, ran a 4.27. At the combine, averaged 17.5 yards per catch, good hand-eye coordination, good runner after the catch, really good prospect and college player. I'm going to explain 5 reasons why the 49ers absolutely, positively should not draft Henry Ruggs at 13. 1, wide receiver is not the Niners' biggest need. Absolutely not. They have Deebo Samuel, one of the more intriguing, talented young wide receivers in the league. They also have Kendrick Bourne, who played well the second half of last season, and a lot of other young, talented wide receivers who either had a down season or were injured. Are the Niners going to give up on all those guys? And really, how bad is the wide receiver position in general? With a guy like Deebo Samuel, that's pretty strong for the future. Compare that to cornerback for the 49ers. They don't have a Deebo in there at corner. They have Akello Witherspoon, who got benched last year and will be a free agent after next year. You also have Richard Sherman, who's old. K'Wan Williams will be a free agent after next year. There's no young Deebo in the secondary. That's a bigger need, not wide receiver. 2, this class of wide receivers is historically deep, not just talented up top. There's a real good chance the Niners could get someone just as good or even better with the 31st pick in round 1 or trading down into round 2. Absolutely. That's very realistic that they could do that. 3, Henry Ruggs was a number 3 receiver at Alabama. Jerry Jeudy was the number 1, and a kid named Devontae Smith was the number 2. He's arguably better than Jeudy. Didn't declare for the draft this year. He'll come out next year. Ruggs was really good, but he played on a team full of all-stars, and opposing defenses never had the luxury of focusing their game plan and efforts on stopping Ruggs. They had to worry about Smith and Jeudy first off. So maybe Ruggs' production was a little bit inflated. And let me ask you this. How many college number 3 receivers have become NFL number 1s? I'd be curious to know. Not saying it hasn't happened, but I just can't think of anyone. 4, Ruggs doesn't give the 49ers anything they don't already have. He's a very good prospect. He's 5'11", fast, doesn't drop many passes, but he's not particularly big. The Niners have a lot of 5'11" wide receivers. The Niners have a lot of fast receivers. Marquise Goodwin's just as fast. Travis Benjamin's very fast. Deebo Samuel is one of the fastest wide receivers in the league with the ball in his hands. His 40 wasn't super fast. It was 4.48, I believe, but he hits like 21 miles an hour when he runs. Very, very fast. The Niners have returners, punt returners, running backs that can play wide receiver, all these kind of different gadget players. And that's kind of what Ruggs is. He's a guy who can return kicks, return punts. Is he a complement to Deebo Samuel, or is he more of the same to what the Niners already have? I'd say he's more of the same. And then 5, he's a deep threat primarily, Henry Ruggs, like Marquise Goodwin. And I'm arguing that that's a bad fit with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's not a deep ball thrower. He threw the fewest deep balls of any quarterback in the league last year. Kyle Shanahan had to scheme him open for him. He'd call maybe 1 or 2 a game, and Jimmy would hit it if the guy was wide open. But basically, Jimmy threw a lot of short passes. He had the lowest average air yards per attempt in the league, lower than Derek Carr, like real dink and dunk stuff. He's more comfortable throwing the short and intermediate passes. He's not comfortable throwing deep, and my evidence for that is look at how the Niners used Marquise Goodwin before and after Jimmy. When it was Brian Hoyer or C.J. Beathard playing quarterback, there were always deep shots to Marquise Goodwin in the game plan. But as soon as Jimmy Garoppolo became the quarterback, they used Marquise Goodwin totally differently. He would run slants and square ins and out routes and short and intermediate stuff that Jimmy Garoppolo is very comfortable throwing. That's probably how the Niners would use Henry Ruggs, and that's a waste. If you're not going to throw him 1 or 2 shots down the field a game, what's the point? You're just going to have him run square ins and slants and bubble routes? Well, you already have guys who can do that. You could already have guys who can run the screens and the bubble routes, but you don't have a big wide receiver who can make difficult catches over the middle in traffic. Ruggs isn't that guy. Deebo isn't that guy. That's what the Niners are looking for, and they can find that later in this draft. No on Henry Ruggs at 13.